well, we can go through our administrative. The minutes. Minutes? Okay. Well, we want to approve that then. Next time we'll approve 2 sets of minutes. I love that. Which will bring us on to the staff report.
Good. Katie and I are going to tag team this.
Excellent.
We've got a lot going on. I've had a lot going on as well. You want to start, Katie, with the...
Sure. I just wanted to mention a few things that were happening for us in our cluster of Kenmore and Kingsgate. The librarians, which I imagine Karen has mentioned to you, have embarked on a service planning process where we did, the first part was a community discovery process where we went out and interviewed people in the community to find out what their needs were or what the needs of the people that they worked at their organization were. And our boss Paul wrote up some beautiful reports about it. And then we discussed it further and we came up with some ideas of what are things that our needs in the community of the library might be able to meet. And that's kind of where we are in the process now. We brainstormed some ideas and the one that we're looking at for Kenmore is to do programming outreach to the business community. So if the idea flies, we will partner with the city of Kenmore and perhaps other businesses, but that's the main partner to offer programs to enrich the business community, to support and enrich and let them know about some of the services that we offer. We bring in speakers. We have a lot of great resources for business research and to make those more known to people in the community. So that's the idea that we settled on for Kenmore, and it's in the kind of draft format. And so the librarians went to a training. So we all got, every library in King County went to this training called mental model busting. And so the idea was that with the rules of librarians changing, used to be that libraries were in the building. We were there, ready to answer any question that came in the door. People aren't asking the level of questions. I'm sure you guys have talked about that here. At the level of questions that they used to, and a librarian's knowledge is not needed.
They'll be replaced by Google.
Sometimes. Sometimes, and people say, oh, you give them some information and I just want to go find something even better. And I say, oh, that's good enough. And I just, kills me. But the idea is that we get outside of the library to talk about our services, our collections to people, not just here at the library waiting for people to come in to ask that complex reference question to get out of the building and talk to people about really what their needs are wherever they are. So what I think what the training was getting at was getting us to kind of, when we're presented with a new opportunity or maybe something that seems like a new challenge, to rethink our mental model of, am I just relying on the old way of doing things, and is that why I'm reacting to this new thing in a negative way? Or so anyway, that was the idea, that we would challenge our mental models about what we do as librarians, what the librarian does to I think foster innovation. And so that was, we all had this training where the librarians will be meeting again in about a week where we will review the service development drafts that we've come up with how we think these new services will work, and then look at things that we aren't currently doing. So we can only do so much with our 40 or 20 or however many hours a week that the librarians are working. And so if we want to do something new, what will we decide not to do? And do we want to do the new thing? So we have to have that discussion as a group, and that's where we are in this service planning process. classes, which I think is really exciting, but also very challenging because sometimes we don't want to stop doing anything. We just want to keep doing more and more and more. So anyway, that's where we are. It's pretty neat. So that's the service planning piece. And I think the actual services that come out of that will start, I think where we are now is going to be next year. I think we were hoping for this year, but because of the new scheduling process and other things that came at us this summer, things got a little bit delayed. So I think really the services will probably happen we'll start some of the kind of groundwork partnership work that needs to happen if we decide to go through these new program services this fall, and then start something in the new year to actually be out there for the public.
You're creating capacity.
We'll have to try to do that. So that's service planning. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about some programs. What do you guys have on your agenda?
Let's see, we're looking at our normal report for the city. And we're going to talk a little bit about Affordable Care Act enrollments.
Oh, okay.
Review of nonprofit potluck that we went to. We're also going to talk about some 2013 meeting dates. A little free library update.
Yes.
Oh,
Schedule our meeting dates, and then any other new business that I don't know about.
Okay.
I know.
Well, maybe I'll just continue with librarian stuff and then hand it over, Robin. Is that okay?
It's fine with me.
Okay. Because I'm the teen librarian, I'll talk about teens first. But I'm really trying to find a way to engage teens here at the library. I tried a teen advisory group last year, and that didn't take off until the last. So I had it, and nobody came, or one girl came.
Oh.
And then this other group kind of came, but they were all coming for the food, which is fine with me. But then they kind of didn't come anymore. And then I had one that was right around the last day of school. And a whole bunch of kids came, and it was great.
Oh.
But they didn't. They all said, "Oh, we're going to be here this summer," and they just weren't interested in carrying on. It was kind of like a one-time thing. And so I had an ice cream social here in June that actually went really well. I think we had about 18 kids come, and it was a nice day. And two of the gals there were like, "Please have a book group. Please, can you start a book group?" And in my experience, teen book groups are really hard to get going and sustain. Students are so busy, and social activities are so important that adding another reading and a book on. But these girls really want it, so I'm doing a survey. Pass that around to see if there is interest in a book group, and if there is interest, when they would like the book group to be, because that's sometimes just a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
And so hopefully I can get some feedback and collect some names and email addresses and get a book group started. And that's the goal. We'll see how that goes. We also have a series of programs that I think is fantastic. It's called Life After High School. And they're all programs related to what students will do after they graduate from high school. So some might be looking for work. Some might be thinking about applying to college. And they're based around that theme. So we're having a program here called The Keys to College. It's about the college admissions process. And it's put on by a nonprofit called the College Planning Network. And the guy that runs this nonprofit, his name is Doug Breithaupt. He lives in Fort Townsend. And he just kind of runs this little nonprofit about helping people apply to college or get scholarships. And he does an amazing job, an amazing presentation. They're always super enlightening. I've hired him several times to do a Finding Money for College workshop, but a lot of libraries do that one, so I thought we'll try something a little bit different and try the Keys to College, because I think that college admission process has changed so much. It's really scary. I feel so bad for these students. Yes.
What's the name of the nonprofit?
It's called College Planning Network.
Plan.
And if you Google that, there's two that come up. One is a .com and one's a .org. So he's the .org. And
Do you know what his name?
his name is Doug Brighthop. And yeah, he does stuff all over the state with these presentations on college planning.
Another question is, who are you circulating this to? Is this high school students
So
or
junior high and high school. So we have it in the library, coffee shop, and then I'm bringing it to the junior high and high school.
In the school libraries?
Yes, in the school library. So they've agreed to collect it for me and they give me back all my work. So yeah, Life After High School is a great series and they're happening all over the system. And last year we had one here and it was on election night. And I thought, oh my gosh, nobody's gonna come. And we actually did have 7 people. I don't know, it was more than I thought for being, election night. So it was pretty cool. So yeah, and it's a great thing. If you know anybody who's applying to college, it would be great for adults or student, like people returning or maybe an older, not straight out of high school person that's applying to college, or I think a high school junior would be really good for, but sophomores, seniors, eager freshmen. We're offering an ESL class here at Kenmore this fall, and it was a unique opportunity presented to us by HopeLink. They wanted to offer some ESL classes related to people, specifically for people that are looking for work. And so it's ESL for people applying for jobs and job searching. And so we got it. And my understanding probably won't get to have it again. But we got it because they wanted to offer a certain number of classes in their kind of service area. And we had space, so we got it. So I think they have the desire to change it to shorewide next year, but we'll be able to have it this time. We'll take it. I've had some people interested. And this is a brochure about ESL talk time sessions. Have you guys seen this before?
Heard about the program, I haven't seen it.
Oh, this is a great, well, and I think it's great because it's us, but you guys are us too. It has the ESL classes, the top 10 classes, and decision classes for the whole library district on one thing.
We have a very active ESL English language talk time on Wednesday mornings. I call them runs groupies. He's got a group of 10, 12 people who come every week and bring their friends. He's helped them with some immigration issues. He takes them out to his farm and shows them his goats. He's made good friends with these people. So it's very awesome.
So I see most of it's in English, but you have a few languages on the right. I'm curious, do you happen to know what that says in English? Just so I have some idea of the relevance of what's in
Gosh,
the
you know
languages.
what?
Run it through the book.
Okay, in Spanish it says,
Oh.
many libraries offer classes for free to study English as a second language, classes for conversation. It's just, I can't believe I can read this. I didn't take Spanish. It's been like 15 years. So, we must have it in English somewhere on here. I guess not. You know what?
And I guess,
Maybe we don't.
I wonder if in here somewhere it has either a link or something, because obviously all these are times and dates here in English and the locations are in
Right.
English, and I just wonder, is there a guide to them in these other languages?
No. And our website is going to be designed, and I keep saying, oh, the new website's coming, we're not going to do X until the new website comes. I feel like I keep hearing that. But they say that our website, they're going to use Google Translate
Oh,
to be able to have websites in different languages. I hear that can be okay, but at least it's better than nothing. A service that we do have that we don't use all that often, but at the bottom here it says language interpreter available. Well, of course, you wouldn't be able to if you don't read English. But we have a service called Language Line that the library subscribes to. It's available for staff. So if someone who speaks another language has a question, or you're trying to talk about something and you realize there's a language barrier, you can call a number and either on speakerphone or just by passing the phone back and forth, be connected to a and so they can translate, and they do like tons of different languages.
I used them when I was in insurance claims. Every language. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Sometimes it takes longer, more obscure.
Because they maybe have to page the person or
Yes.
something.
Can I ask you a question? This is a service to help people who don't speak English speak it better. Okay. But when you get Somali and Vietnamese, do you have many Somali written books in the library?
We have
Foreign
some.
language books?
Yeah, we
You
have a
do?
whole world languages collection on the library's website. You can see which library has which language. So you can look at, say, Kenmore, you have Spanish, Russian, Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the three we have. Or if so, say you speak Somali, you can look and see which libraries have Somali.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
You can order.
And then we can place hold and bring books here from the branch. So yeah, we have a lot of different collections.
And get some of you here. Oh, I don't know what happened.
I do. So, maybe just a question. I mean, are there, like Chinese I can understand in Spanish, but is Somali really that big a group?
I think it depends.
In KCLS
Well,
jurisdiction?
I used to work in South End, and we have a lot more in like Huntington and Kent area. And yeah, so and Tukwila. So Tukwila has like the most diverse area of like the whole country or something crazy
Is that
like
when
that.
the natural station office is there?
Probably. So yeah.
Somali's in the South Seattle area, one of the fastest growing immigrant groups right now. The last, let's say, 5 or 10 years. Can't post our insurance claims.
I think like this area in King County, I think I want to say, and gosh, I wish I had it, but it's like we're the 13th largest receiver of refugees in the country. It's pretty big. So
I mean, we're across King County.
in that south end of King County,
Other parts of the system.
yeah. So yeah, not as much up here. But I'm so excited. I have 4 ESL students going from the junior high to the library. So I'm really excited about that.
Don't even want to be a team. What's our position? Team advisor. We're still short one, aren't we?
Oh. Yeah, I was hoping we had a team advisory group to help with that, but. A place at the table is still going on, so we're heading into the last quarter of the year that it's been really fun, I think, although I haven't gotten to go with some friends yet. But I am hopefully going to go to Molly Katzen. So do you guys know Molly Katzen?
Yeah.
Moosewood, yes. Moosewood is a fantastic, yes, and she does all these amazing cookbooks. She's going to be at Bastyr on September 27th at Bastyr Chapel, and so KCLS is, so Bastyr is actually going to be there. They, I think, are, someone from there is actually going to be interviewing her, facilitating the talk.
What's the last name?
Katzen. And it's just really cool. And so this is our 4th quarter brochure of all of the programs. Yes. I know. It was really fun.
When is it in Western?
September 27th. And it's in there, what time is it? Is it at 7 o'clock?
Friday, September 27th.
She has a new cookbook, so we got on her book tour.
Good job.
We talked to Karen about getting some outreach with this program to a couple of the senior living, assisted living and senior your apartments down here in the cluster. Do you know if that ever happened?
I think most of the programs have been in library.
Well, that was
And that was
one of
the
the
idea,
suggestions
yeah.
that we made was to the outreach to the community. That would be a good place to go for. So, but she's not here,
Well, that's,
so.
I'll follow up with it. I'm curious about that. And if we do take something to a private location like that, it wouldn't end up in the book, but it may have happened.
Yeah, I did see, my mother happens to live in one of them, I did see a notice that somebody from the library was coming there, but I didn't know if that was an ongoing, visitation thing, or whether that was as a result of the conversation. Because I know that Karen took the suggestion and was gonna look into it, but I just don't know whatever came of it.
Sorry, I don't know either.
It's okay. Not your thing.
And then lastly, but not certainly not least, is the summer reading program. So we had summer reading program for teens and summer reading program for children. Both, I think, were very successful. Teens will grow. We only had 37 finishers at Kenmore, which isn't, I looked back to see how many forms we got on a monthly basis last year, and it's pretty similar. So it's, I was hoping that it would grow because I was able to see a lot of classes at the junior high. But anyway, it went well, and I hope we'll do it again next year. And the children's, we don't have the numbers from Patty, but it was great. Dig into reading. We were visiting, there were 2 summer meal sites in North Shore School District, one at Kenmore Elementary and one at church in downtown Bothell. And so that has federal grant money, but the sites were run by the YMCA, where kids 0 to 18 could come and get free lunch. And so on a regular basis, I think it was weekly during the summer, we visited the sites to connect people visiting sites with books. So we did stories, and people brought a craft related to the summer reading program, and when we could, we brought our library to go vehicle. And the Bothell site did not have many people there. But I heard the Kenmore site was a little better. And that was, I know that's something that it was, and it's under this other kind of grant-funded program the library system has called Let's Read. And they got an Allen Foundation grant that will carry through next year to expand that. And they were focusing mainly on places in the South End communities that had a higher rate of people that apply for, qualify for free and reduced cost lunch. But we were able to lock onto that because we had the sites in our district, and so that was part of the story as well. And thank you for listening.
Katie has a fun job. She gets to talk about all programs.
I
Kids
know,
and
but
fun.
you get to talk about the fun statistics, which is the stuff I like.
Karen asked me to speak about the operational side of the business, and we keep track of everything. And we have in each branch a people counter, a little device that counts how many people go in and out. And I was going to compare August stats to last year's August stats, but I was swiftly reminded that someone stole our traffic counter last August,
Oh my
and so it
gosh.
took us a long time to get it reinstated. But interestingly enough, July and August of this year had a substantially higher door count than any other month of the year, which I thought was very interesting.
So March and April are usually our busy months, would you say? I mean, just generally as libraries go, or?
After school. After school's been in for a while.
Well, I think the tax
I
season.
wouldn't think summer would be.
It's March. To me, I've seen the curve go up at March and April. But, so that's interesting to me that summer was busier.
Yeah, indeed it was. And of the 3 libraries in our cluster, Bothell, Kingsgate, and Kenmore, Kenmore's the only one to have seen an increase in checkouts and check-ins.
People actually
Nobody-
checking out
Yes, they are. Nobody wants to drive a truck.
Oh, I know.
And
Well,
nobody
you know
wants
what's
to
great,
drive.
nobody wants to drive.
And Kingsgate, I
Nobody
think
was
it's a pretty
No.
it's more residential area.
Yeah, it has,
Yeah.
I think it has high check-in. I've heard is better than check-out.
Well, our numbers will get
Even better or better percentage?
better percentage. Oh, no, not numbers, percentage. Couple of building issues. We've been here for a little over 2 years and the walls are starting to creak and the windows are starting to leak. But the rain garden looks fabulous.
You said the windows are starting to leak
Yeah.
without rain. That's not good.
We're on it.
Okay.
We're on it.
The contractor's
So-
on it?
You betcha. So we have so enjoyed the patio furniture this summer. It's
Oh, yeah.
exceptional summer and we've really enjoyed it.
Will it come in?
Yeah, so downstairs in the garage, parked garage. Anybody park in the garage?
Yes. Somebody hit posts.
They keep hitting the posts. I don't care. I know it wasn't because it's been down for a week or so.
Make them stronger.
Oh.
Killed cars.
Oh, gosh.
Did you take the, did they take the post out?
I did see that.
Somebody knocked one down.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
The
Even
concrete
since
broke.
oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah, if you go outside the
Because you
open
can't
door.
really get them ahead of speed in the garage.
I guess you can't try it.
No, that was
Computer classes. We were seriously considering, last spring, we were seriously considering discontinuing them for the summer because participation tends to drop off. The city convinced us that that was something that they wanted to see us continue it. And they have great guns. This Saturday at, is it 2 o'clock? No, 2 o'clock is movie time. 10:30 is Love Your E-Reader. Drop in for folks who want to learn to love your e-reader. I think the questions about e-readers have dropped off a bit. Yeah. There's still a strong force. I fell to the dark side and got e-readers.
They have their place.
They do. They really do.
Do your Excel classes ever get into pivot tables by any chance?
Not level 1 or 2.
Is there a level 3?
I'm going
I know some branches have a level 3.
Well, if you're interested, let me know and I'll see if we can't get that.
Or come to one-on-one.
Well, I'll take whatever training I can get. You tell me
It's
where.
cool. And you just bring what you want to learn. It's one-on-one, and it hasn't been like crazy amount of people, so you can have as much time as it takes you to learn pivot table, which I don't even know what that is.
You can book a librarian for 30 minutes, wherever, whenever, to talk about anything you want.
Really? Computer
Yes.
related or?
You're all good at access.
Oh gosh.
Someone.
Okay, well, I had to take that in college, but I haven't done it since then.
Exit.
Take what?
Access.
Access.
Business searches, computer classes, you know, how to get on Facebook.
Oh, genealogy questions.
Yes.
I love those.
Book a librarian, call us. Yes.
Wow.
Did you want a copy of the September program for the library? I brought it just in case. A lot going on, which you guys should. You can expect Facebook to the teens, and we've got computer classes. We've got the monthly movie that we show with the movie license purchased by the Friends Group. Wildly popular, snacks and
How many?
not a lot. About average would be about 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh.
Yeah, with moms and dads. So that's a good start when we get to. And STARS, the state training and registry system. Through them, KCLS offers free classes for caregivers, child caregivers, to earn credits toward their continuing education. And Kenmore's been really consistent in hosting them. This year we have in November across the curriculum with Eric Carl. everyone remembers it. Yeah. So, and those are very, very popular. We have to give people that.
This is awful, but I don't see, we have Macs. It's only Microsoft.
No. For the computer classes, yes. The e-readers, bring your iPad in and we can help you with that.
But the classes, yeah, they're all,
Microsoft.
you know, yeah, Microsoft
There's Microsoft
software.
data classes.
What's
There are
that?
people who present the classes or library.
They're volunteers. So people in the community that want to volunteer at the library, we plug them in if they're interested in teaching classes like that. But people, that's kind of what people are asking for, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what we have, that's what the library
That's what the
is.
library, okay.
Yeah.
So you're bilingual too?
What?
You're bilingual.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
No, my husband is, I'm not.
Yeah, we're Apple at home.
Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah.
Microsoft and Apple.
Yeah.
Those two linguals, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going concerned.
That's
What's
great.
going on?
Numbers sound good too.
Actually, it's 15,000, how many people came in that door in August? 15,139.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
Now, what's the
In
population of
August.
Kenmore?
21,000.
See, we
Look
need
at
to
that.
get to
3.
21,000.
Wow.
Every single person, come and work
So, wow.
There's a goal.
Those aren't
That is a
15,000, it's not
goal.
15,000 unique individuals. There's a-
I was smart enough to
there's a
ask
repeat
that.
offender.
Yeah, 10,000 times.
Well, there's people that come in every day.
Like I said, we start coming down here and just walking through the door for more time.
Up those numbers.
Vote early, vote often.
That's right. Little Chicago.
I'm excited to hear about the little library at school.
Let's see. Multitasking. One thing I need to talk about here on my agenda is moving my phone. Let's see. Oh, Lori/Al.
That's me. Yeah, Lori, she's been doctoring for the last few months. She had another minor surgery this last week, and she asked me to fill in for her again, so I'm happy to be here. Last time, I got something else to do.
He sure did.
But I enjoyed it. It's fun to hear all these things that are going on at the library. I had no idea. You offer so many services. It's really wonderful to do that for the community. But I'm here to talk about what's happening in the city and answer any questions you might have. And we're proceeding along with the Kenmore Village across the street. They are running into some difficulty signing up tenants for space. And something that I hadn't realized, these retailers do market analysis, and the market analysis is typically looking at a 5-mile circle, or for radius or diameter circle. Okay, and what might be the business possibilities within that geographic area, this being the center. Well, we've got 1/4 of that circle is lake and Lake Point. And there aren't any people living there.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
when
true.
Lake Point develops, we'll have a lot of people in that quadrant. But that affects the market evaluation of the area. And they had tried desperately to get an alternative grocery store, like a smaller one like Trader Joe's or PCC or whatever. And they haven't been able to interest any of them to come into Kenmore. And so they've been working on other possibilities, but it's all retail look at things the same way. And while we may say, gosh, we'd love to go to Trader Joe's here in Kenmore so we don't have to drive to Kirkland or Linwood. I could probably get 1,000 people in Kenmore say, hey, we want a Trader Joe's. In fact, there were some people who actually had a campaign of logging in on their website and saying, hey, come to Kenmore.
Oh.
But that, they know more about the market than the average citizen does. And just because we like to have it doesn't mean they feel they can be successful here. And so that's a stumbling block, a difficulty that they're facing.
And they didn't anticipate that it would be.
I guess not. I don't
Years.
know. Not until they started talking turkey with them. And we even made overtures to Benaroya from the city. And probably shouldn't say it, but, you know, we might be able to make some concessions and help you, Benaroya, seal a deal with Trader Joe's if you can get them. In other words, if you can reduce their rent, it'll lure them away from Bothell or wherever they want to go. We may be able to make some concessions on the purchase price because it's important to a lot of people in the city to have. That would make that center really good, but it isn't going to work. So we do have Evergreen Hospital. They're going to be coming in, and a professional building, and Dr. Minahan and his son, Al Minahan, Dave and Al, will be going into space, and at least they've expressed that interest. So if they build a professional building for that, then the coffee shop over here will be part of that building as well, and maybe some other professionals go in there, along with Evergreen Hospital, Evergreen Physicians. And they've been talking to a number of different restaurants. And so Evergreen will be along 68th and then across the street down on 181st in that space between the two driveways will be a restaurant. That'll be a higher end restaurant, not a Denny's, not a drive-in, but not a Campbell's. But I would say something like Anthony's or maybe even a little higher class than that. So we've been looking for a nice place like that to go to eat in Kenmore, and hopefully when that all happens, the Kenmore people will support it. And we had the Keg back in the corner here for quite a while, and the restaurant back here that's the VIP or some MVP, whatever. But the Keg was there for a while, but everybody else is coming after that. That's not sustained their operation. Failed. So.
Well, Anthony's would be wonderful. We go to Anthony's all the time, and they do those
Well, in Lake Point,
1999.
they like to be on the water.
Yeah.
And when Lake Point develops, I think Anthony's will be part of that. But Anthony's also, the owner of Anthony's also has another line of restaurants, I can't remember the name of it, that is more turf rather than surf. Where you can get seafood dishes, but that's not the main line. So I don't know what they're, I mean, we don't have anything publicly that we can release at this point. Only Evergreen Hospital is the only one that's really nailed down. They definitely are coming in.
Now, I'm confused. So that you'd actually go to doctor's offices?
Well, right up here, where Dr. Curtis is and so on, those are Evergreen physicians there, a cluster of doctors in one building. This one will be an expanded facility with more physicians and so on.
Yeah. But they would work out of Evergreen Hospital, but
Right.
have their private practice
Right.
or this
The
way.
regular non-hospital appointments will be
Okay.
here. And they have a number of these around. They opened one in Redmond, just outreach. You know, all the hospitals are doing. There's Swedish Hospital and there's university physicians and so on. But within this hospital service district, they have these outreach or neighborhood clinics. It's a convenience to the patients. So they don't have to drive all the way to Evergreen or go to the complex of doctors' offices that are over there around the hospital.
Yeah.
So
It would be real convenient for me. I just go
we're
to
still
Danny
also
or something.
hopeful with Lake Point. There is a developer that is looking at it. I see Gary Sargent, a managing partner in that area down there, 45 acres or 44, whatever it is. He always has a smile on his face, so that's always a good sign. So we've had interested developers before, so don't hold your breath. But one of these days, it's going to take off, and it's going to be the jewel of the lake when it does. It's the only open space on the lake that's still available. It's a clean slate. It's not like you have to acquire pieces of property to get enough to make something happen. It's all there, and there's a master plan for it. It's all tied together. Once a developer is identified and wants to proceed, then you start the negotiation process with the city and say, okay, this is what we'd like you to do, and if you do that, we'll give you that sort of stuff. Parkland for, like Bothell, got all the ball fields in the North Creek area, the ball fields and the trails, all that sort of thing. That comes from negotiation with the city and the developer. If the developer has their way, they want to be good neighbors, but still, they want to maximize their profit. And so you got to wheel and deal with it to get something of value to the community, as well as the increase in the business and the population and all that sort of thing that comes along. So,
You said that coffee shop will be gone. Are there, there's a Kenmore gym? I heard that they are going to tear that whole building down.
that's where Evergreen Hospital wants to go.
Okay, so the old buildings. will be
They
gone.
want the professional building to be along 68th there. So the coffee shop, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn, she's interested in going in the building, even though the cost per square foot is going to be significantly higher than what she's paying. But she doesn't need as much space as she has. So she can get along with half the space and have a good coffee shop, what she wants to do. So,
You know, there's people coming in for their appointments. That would be.
well, yeah. And, yeah, so she's doing good business and she's doing well. She, they,
When will we
who's,
get
who else, huh?
When will that all happen? Time frame?
We still are in the due diligence phase with RPI, Benaroya RPA on the commercial end, and also Main Street Properties up above. There's still some negotiations that they have to do. The Main Street Properties, I think the last I heard was that the road between Park and Ride and the condos up there is a jointly owned road. It's not a public road in there. So that's access, and they got to work out the agreements with the condo owners that are up there. So that is slowing things down a little bit. So I think they're extending their due diligence period another 30 days. Things are going well. You know, it's just a matter of working with the marketplace. Again, what we individually would like to see isn't necessarily what the market bears. So,
Can I ask a question?
sure, please.
How's the business incubator?
Doing well. There are 3 startups in there now. All 3 are high-tech kinds of computer kinds of startups. One's a video gaming company. One is a Cuckoo Watch company, which is several manufacturers are coming out with watches that link Bluetooth to your cell phone, so you can look at it and see it's an email coming in or whatever for you.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and if you want ball scores, and it shows up on the watch, I guess, I don't know. But, so that's one of them, and the other one's a game thing, and then there's another one that's computer oriented. It's just recently started there. I can't remember what they do.
So what do they get? They get subsidized office space?
It's
Or do
reduced
they
priced
have
office space
other-
to help them get started. It's all on one floor, one common so conference area or lounge kind of an area where they can get together and talk about things and share. I was amazed at the startup industry. The startup industry really shares information. You would think that an individual would be working, a company would be working and not want to share any of their secrets, but they support each other. They really do. And I read a book, author with Brad Feld, and it's a history of Boulder, Colorado, and its development as a startup community. And it's really interesting, the number of what they call meetups, which are meet and greet kinds of things, networking affairs, and we've done a number of them here in Kenmore to try to get businesses talking to each other. Often businesses have similar problems, and they're not competitors, but they can help each other. And they do. So in this incubator, there's that lounge area, and there's a little kitchen area for break room kind of a thing, and other small offices. And I can't remember what the rates are, but $500 a month for an office that has a desk in it, and so on. Just the smallest deal or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's a bargain. And they sign a contract that they'll be there for a maximum of, I think, 2 years. And when they have grown to the point where they need bigger space, different space, then they're expected to stay here in Kenmore, at least make every effort to do so. Now, that's another problem, that there isn't the office space in Kenmore for them to move into. And so that may be part of the center across the street here. Professional office or business office space.
Seems like that might be an opportunity opportunity to tie in with the library since that's what we're about, because there's so many great services that the library offers to businesses that it might be worth going down there just to see, or, I mean, I don't know. I still am not quite clear about how our liaison works with, between city and the library, but if you do outreach and go out, it might be really worthwhile sending someone over there to let the people there know about the fantastic resources you
I
have.
think will be part of this service plan draft that we're doing now. And so one aspect was, could we offer our services to the incubator? Are they interested, and what could we offer? Or invite those people to something either here or at the, using the facilities in the city to offer programs. So that's something that's on our mind, so that's why I was.
Yeah.
Well, I was part of our business stimulation program. And one of the things I thought we might do in conjunction with, this is my idea, city in conjunction with the universities and maybe the library and the school district, is offer seminars that at a very reduced rate. One, for example, that I heard that I'd really love to see is a guy named David Horsaker, who's a motivational kind of guy, and I heard a full-day presentation by him, and his program is the 8 pillars of trust. And building trust in any relationship, and it's particularly important in businesses, because you build that trust, you get loyal customers. And it's a program that's of value to everybody in any relationship, whether it's family relationships or organizational relationships, business relationships. And I found it to be tremendously valuable. Well, bring that guy out here is about 15 grand. But if you have a program that is sponsored by 4 or 5 different agencies, and charge a minimal fee, maybe $25 to attend it, I think you could fill the theater up there at Bothell High School.
Last year.
Last year.
Are you allowed to participate in anything that charges a fee?
Well, our services are free and open to the public, so no. But we do have money to spend on programming, not in the neighborhood of 15,000.
No.
But
that's why
we were looking at other, like the Washington Small Business Association. They have a speakers bureau where you can hire people, so maybe we could be involved in something on a different scale.
Well, we have in our business program, started a business incubator, and Barry Weissband was hired as a consultant for those businesses, and he's given seminars and writing their what do you call them? business plans, or I'm thinking is academic curriculum vitae, but in business, performa, whatever it is, your background, how to write it, and that sort of. He's done those kinds of programs. We've got 2 or 3 of those from him. But I could see us bringing in a lot of different kinds of people that would be interested in the business community. And you also might establish a liaison with the Kenmore Business Alliance. That's a division of the North Shore Chamber of Commerce. And we used to have a Kenmore and Bothell division of the North Shore Chamber, and the Kenmore Chamber folded a long time ago. We just couldn't keep the interest up. And this is an effort to revive that chamber here in Kenmore. And Carl Michaelman down the street here at Michaelman Insurance is the driving force behind that. And Annie, I can't remember the last name, Key Bank, also involved in it. So they're getting more active, and we've indicated that our business registration fee that we get, a little portion of it will help support activities of that business alliance. So that business registration started off as the motivation from the council was we need to know who's here so that we can communicate with them and get input from them, get a dialogue going with them. There's, we know about the prominent ones that are around us in public, but there are a lot of home businesses and so on. We just need to know who they are. And that way we can provide a service for them and contact them and keep them informed. And so all we wanted was a registration, just a database. And I didn't even want to charge anything for it. But the city staff didn't want to hire somebody to put together the database, and the state does that already. In most cities for business licenses, tie it to the state business registration. You write one check for all your licenses. So just even running it through that state program smacks of a business license rather than a registration, and that had a pretty big negative response when we announced it. They toned it down a lot, and gosh, I think we're charging them even a $25 fee, of which 15 of it in the first year goes to the state to get them started. So that leaves us $10 out of 25, which is peanuts. It's not a big expense, but the negative thought is it's the camel's nose under the tent, and that's a real low business license, if you want to call it a license, but it easily can increase once you establish a new taxation source, you know. And so I even had the businessman in town come up to me afterwards. He says, why are you starting a B&O tax? No, it's not a B&O tax. We just need to know. And you got to pay the state to get the information for you. So hopefully we can show the business community that we want to help, and that we invest more in the business community, far more in the business community than what we're getting from these licenses. Directory, an online directory, that sort of thing.
How is it going and the compilation of this business directory? Is it going anywhere, or do we have people registered?
Yeah, the information will come from the state. Well, I don't know, I mean, maybe I don't know whether it's started yet or not. It may start fall quarter, the last quarter of the year, I don't know, but they have to get up and gear it up to go. And then the information will be fed to us in the city. And then we can do what we want, and I think what we're thinking about is an online business directory that's searchable. An example was Brent Smith, one of the councilmen, who said he had a Honda mower that needed good service. He didn't know who to go to for service. And he was down at Dick's Drive-In, and here's this guy with his truck, Honda service, motor service. And the guy lives in Kenmore, his business is in Kenmore. So that's not too much. But that's the sort of thing that we don't have, and maybe annually we put together a business directory. It updated each year, but an online directory that hopefully would be searchable by type of business or name of the business, whatever. That could be ongoing, and once somebody pays their fee to be registered, boom, within a month they're on that directory. So it's immediate payback, or feedback. So that's where we're going with that.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay.
I want to talk briefly about the Affordable Care Act, because it's coming, and the library is going to be involved in it, as a matter of fact. Not giving the health care, unfortunately.
Very interested to hear what the connection was here. I thought I got it into this.
Gotta wait for this.
We're hosting, the county health department is going to be here the first Saturday of the month, October, November, December, and January, 1 to 5. Informational, sign up, and so much more.
Will they be in this room?
What was the date again?
The first Saturdays in October, November, December, and January, from 1 to 5.
Yeah, we had a presentation last night.
At City Hall on October 4th at City Hall.
Okay.
Sending one of my children.
So then the next day here, second.
It's new here. And just to give you some information on that, as of October 1st, people can start enrolling, and coverage begins for individuals January 1st. I guess to get some demographic studies from the information I have here from, this is from Lori, 1,000 Kenmore residents will be eligible for fully subsidized health coverage through expanded Medicaid, and another 1,000 will be able to take advantage of subsidized but not fully paid through the exchange that they're in. So definitely has an effect on our community. I mean, 2,000 out of 25.
That's an estimate of those at income levels that would qualify for those two levels of assistance. Medicaid is 120% of the median in poverty level, which is about $23,000 a year, something like that, per family. And
So-
then the other level would be tax credits of varying levels depending on where you're up to 4 times the poverty level.
Then who's responsible for publicizing that to the citizens of Kenmore?
Okay, the Department of Health.
I would think the Department of Health, there's a link on the county website.
She said last night they weren't publicizing things too early because there's nothing people can do with it until the 1st of October anyway. So they're going to start a push here in the next week or 2, publicizing.
You know, I saw a webinar, it was a King County webinar a couple weeks ago, and they had public health was on there, and they are going to sort of push this and share this information, probably through their website initially. I'm sure there'll also be some, I gotta think there'll be things in the paper.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
There's a big budget for it. It's all
Yeah.
federal bucks are funding the
Yeah.
promotion.
I think last Saturday there was a article in Seattle Times and about this, some people or some organization, they have put a call center in Spokane about the health thing, and it's free, and there were timings given. It was a fairly large article, and with a phone number and phone line that people can call in.
Good.
And this is located in Spokane for Washington State.
The goal is to recruit enough people into the insurance, to get them insured so that they're maintained, their health is maintained with regular doctor appointments so that they stay healthy and have a way to get medical care without having to go to the emergency room. What usually happens is these people without insurance show up in the emergency room and the hospitals eat the cost. And that really raises the cost of health care. So if they can limit the amount of emergency room, routine care kinds of stuff, then all of healthcare is going to reduce. So,
We hope.
hope it works out. Yeah.
Mayor?
I'm sorry, I believe that information is on the website, the county's website.
On the healthcare?
The county's website? Will you have, I mean, I know that you don't manage the KCLS website, but are there other KCLS sites where this is going to be happening? And do you think it will be on?
Hawthorne, Kingsgate, all I know is the
Your
libraries in my
cluster, yeah.
Right.
Well, presumably there will be others, and I'm assuming that the library system will have that information on the website when the time comes.
Indeed, yes.
And if you want more information, just in general, kingcounty.gov/coverage. Marilyn?
Well, this will just take 2 seconds because most of you were there. I think it was a situation that brought several civic groups together at this potluck. There were hot dogs and other potluck things brought in. We discussed, for a long time, discussed the changing demographics of the North Shore School District. And there was a good Q&A and a raffle and good
Fun
fun.
evening.
It was fun. It was fun. So, not too much to report, except that a good time was had by all.
Did you feel that it was, I mean, you were talking about having their own little barbecue summer kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we had done that the year before.
And combining it with the other nonprofits, do you think that was a value?
I thought it was.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
It was good to see so many different
Yeah, the
organizations.
seniors,
They were very, very
the seniors were very fun and sweet.
We heard a little bit about the North Shore School District's plans to build the
high school.
new high school. That was pretty exciting. So you can watch for a levy near you this winter.
Coming to you.
Coming to you.
Bond issue, I don't handle it.
So we'll see.
When they said that we always pass the bond issues, the North Shore School District, I thought that was very impressive.
Like
It's not a-
80-something%, I think, last year.
Yeah,
It's been, they've got a great track record for that.
Before I get to new business, I'd like to look at the calendar if we could and make sure we pencil out some dates.
Good.
I believe, and somebody correct me, yeah, I always forget, because I know this week, are we always on the second week, or is it just the second because of the holiday?
We're supposed to be on the first week,
Ah,
right?
good.
But because that
Oh.
picnic or that thing happened, and when we just sort of cavalierly changed it, Karen was just like,
Well, no.
because it's also stated on the city's somewhere website that,
The
that our
newspaper,
meetings
yeah.
are the first Tuesday, right? So we should probably
Go back to the first
adhere
Tuesday.
to that.
And we didn't do it this month because of the holiday.
Yeah,
That's why.
Oh,
That's,
it's a
the
holiday.
holiday was Monday, and we just didn't want to be here.
Okay,
after the holiday.
cool.
I think we can make exceptions.
Oh, of course we can.
Right.
Of course we can.
Yeah.
That's too much. But then looking ahead, it looks like our next meeting then will be Tuesday, November 5th. And then January 7th. How far do you think Karen would like us to go out? 6 months?
As far as you can.
All right, I'll just keep sweeping then. How about that? March 4th.
I'll make these cookies.
Great. May 6th. And just for fun, why don't we say July 8th? Let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens there, yeah. Well, maybe we'll go back to our old, our other model of our own festivities.
And that brings us to any new business for the group. A lot of this is non-specific.
Well, I had asked you about your, the draft of your mission statement, which I received.
Oh, good. I was a
Yeah,
little
no, I
concerned if you
received,
didn't
and
get it.
I was hoping that we could talk about that a little bit. You know, I don't know if you are prepared to talk about it yourself,
I was
or-
nearly as delayed as you tonight.
Oh,
I walked
sorry, you walked.
from Lake,
Oh,
from
yeah.
before Lake Forest Park, so
Okay.
that's why I have no notebook, no notepad. I'm playing fully electronic tonight.
Yeah, it's attached to the email you sent me, but do we want to just make that a real agenda item for next?
Yeah, why don't we do that? And what I'll do is I'll resend it out to everybody just to give people a chance to look at it and get some general ideas. It was something we brought up, it's probably been 8 months ago.
It's been a while.
It was just an idea of maybe looking back at what our mission is with the Library Advisory Board and maybe trying to bring some refocus or just look again at what we should be doing and what our goals and our missions are. And it was tied a little bit, at least the initial draft I started to put up was tied to a little bit of the information the city website is what this board was put for, and then trying to look forward to see if we can expand ourselves a little bit. So that was one of the things I had done, and Lisa wanted to see it, and I forgot she reminded me, and I sent it out to her. So we were going to talk about it tonight, but it was just one of those things I didn't bring any copies, and I know you wanted to talk about it, but it was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was.
So I apologize. One thing that might assist though in having conversations like that, and I'm going to bring this, I'll be doing this the next time I ask for agenda items, and I'll email out to everybody, is that if you have something you want to present, put on about how much time you think you'd like to have for that, because I know sometimes we run out of time, and I think it'd be really good if we kind of build that. And then there might be more time if we look at the agenda and go, oh, okay, well, we don't have too many things to talk about. We might have more time for whatever we have that we need to talk about. We might still have some book time. But then again, if we want to talk about a new mission statement, or Shendri, you have something you want to talk about, a little library, maybe that takes time. You know, we would have time for that, and nothing would then get missed. And I think that'd just be a better way of organizing ourselves, so we make sure everybody has the time they need to be able to bring the focus items. So I hope that's okay with everybody. Send that out.
Is it true that you get 25 free color copies per month at the library?
Per week, you get 75 units. Black and white page is 1 unit, color copy is 3 units.
Okay,
So do the math.
so, well, tell me, 'cause this is
25
about
a week.
the little library.
It's
that-
25 a week.
So, in other words, when you go to the little library, you get to the ideas that you recommend a book and write a little thing. So this came from the little library company, and I mean, I have a color copier, but mine isn't that great. Anyway, how many could I make?
You can make
Scan it, print it.
We have scanning capability.
Well,
As of yesterday,
what do you mean, so scan it on what?
you can take that, stick it in the, put it in our copy machine, put your
Yeah.
thumb drive in, scan it to your thumb drive. Walk
Uh-huh.
over to a library computer, pull it up, print off free 25 copies
Free 25
per week.
per week. I don't
Color
think that many.
copies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I don't have a thumb drive.
We'll loan you one.
As a kid, I moved to
Well,
the
you
library,
must
I had copies for projects and stuff.
They're great.
Another
Yeah,
idea.
just transferring files.
You know what
to
I would be
the-
interested also,
Oh,
Is this-
just
did you
in our
get these,
efforts
like,
to
This-
copy or-
figure
No,
out
this
where
came
we're
to me
going,
just
is
like
to
this.
know
I
just
got
the
that,
structure,
and then they gave me,
you know, Karen probably is the one who attends the other, the meetings of this equivalent board.
this
yeah,
and
which,
this.
Libraries.
Yes,
What are their
and
meetings like?
I
What are the
also
kinds of things that
purchased
they-
a stamp.
Yeah, well,
that I should
yeah,
stamp in
okay.
each
Well,
book.
maybe I should,
I don't know.
maybe we should, because I'm just
No,
interested
it
to know
just
what,
says-
you know,
It's,
sort of how you focus
no, it's actually,
on
it says-
the business of
it
the
says
liaison between the community and the
always
library.
is
Oh, that's
never
our
for
fail. You know,
And
that's our
that
purpose.
I don't know if you were here for
Discourage.
the Katie was talking about they're working on
Yes.
their service
That independent
planning right now, is that correct? I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it, to kind of
So-
liaison with that group a little bit to try to.
I just want to know what they
we could-
do.
How we could better,
Do you want me to pass that along to Karen?
You know, I can email her. Yeah, I'll do that, but just so that we have some sense that, you know, like, this is what these sorts of boards normally,
Because I know we talked about it, but I don't know if I've ever seen a schedule. I wouldn't mind attending one just to see what some of the other boards do.
well, I'm
We could
just
invite
interested to
ourselves.
find out if the service planning is including what the mission of our group is. I mean, would that be within the context of what they're looking at?
Your mission statement?
Well, the Friends of Library and the Library Advisory Board, et cetera, I mean, are they looking at what role they played within the community? And how,
I would guess not.
I mean, I guess my point is it might help us define our mission statement if they're including that in their analysis. I mean, are they looking at, well, how can we assist them?
I would be surprised if anyone's gone that far. That's a great topic.
Well, I mean, it may be beneficial to look at what reports they come up with, you know, before. we
And is
actually
there-
define it. Sure.
on the City of Bothel's website, is there a charge for their library advisory board? And how is it similar or different from the Kenmore, the one that's on the Kenmore site? I mean, you know, like, are we all walking in the same direction? Or are we just all inventing it ourselves? And I don't know if there's anything wrong with inventing it ourselves, but I would just like, just to have some sort of frame of reference about what the other King County Library Advisory Boards do.
And I don't have that experience.
Yeah, no, and I'm not asking you for that information right now. I'm just saying that that would be something to explore in conjunction with, you know, creating our mission statement.
Yeah, the board is appointed by the city of Kenmore as a citizens advisory board for the library. I'm sure they have some guidelines as to what they expect of it, but when we're planning this library, this board was really instrumental in getting input from citizens to the library system. You were were any of you still on the board at that time?
Well, I think that's part of the issue, Alan, is that
What do we
it
do
was
now?
very
Right.
clear.
And there was a
when
question,
that-
I mean, it came up in one of our meetings before where,
Yeah.
I mean, and Lori, I believe, was the one that raised it. I mean, what is our purpose? I mean, are we really?
Yeah, I remember there was some mention of, you know, do we really need it?
Right.
Or we're just having meetings just to have meetings, you know. But
That
whether we
is-
serve a link to the citizens that assists the library and assists the city, that's,
It's a great question to take to
Yeah.
Karen.
yeah.
I've heard that articulated quite a bit. What do we do now? And we don't want to lose you if we can, that'll help it. So it would be beneficial to everyone.
Yeah. So, yes, I think your suggestion of looking at other cities and what is their mission and what should we be, what would you be doing?
And I've seen the very brief statement that's on the City of Kenmore's website about this board, but I've never seen or been told of the existence of any further guidelines. They may exist, they may not, but to my knowledge, they've never been brought forward and given to like new members of the board. So, you know, if that's something that could happen with at the city level too, it's just like, you got anything in a filing cabinet that gives us any?
It's on their website, I don't like to know.
But I've looked at that website and there's just like,
Okay, I don't know the history, but I would imagine that the city did this in response to a request from the library system
Yes.
to have a liaison
From our
group.
director.
So it'd be nice to know what King County Library expects of the Citizens Advisory Board.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They'll work better with clear
action
expectations.
item for Karen.
And also, I'll take it back to the city and see if they have anything else.
If there's any further documentation,
Yeah.
that would be really
But
awesome.
again, in the planning, the transition from the old library to here and all that, this group was just valuable.
Our director was very adamant that he wanted the community input.
Yeah.
And this was the best way to get that.
Yeah.
Robin, Terry Claypool might have some information because she was the first liaison
Mhm.
when our group started, so she might have some more information.
I'm sure Karen and Terry will be talking.
Okay.
When Katie does her outreach to the schools, can she make a pitch for a student member of this board like we've had before? It's nice to know from the youth what they would like to see from the library.
I thought you had one.
We did have one.
Yeah.
She
She
graduated.
She graduated and we had another
Ah.
guy before that who was handicapped in a wheelchair.
And
And so, and so not only was he a youthful perspective, but from a handicap
Can you
standpoint.
replace a member anytime in the year? Do you have to wait till?
Sure.
I think we need them, so I think they just have to apply. And
Yeah.
if
We're
there's-
looking for a
Okay.
kindergartner this time.
So we can
you
keep them
have-
for a long time.
But as I
Or
recall,
her.
Alex was on the board for several years,
yeah,
wasn't
he was at least
Started
for
when he was
three,
around.
at least for 3 years.
About
Yeah.
covering
Like
this up to Katie.
sophomore, just old.
Yeah, because she's working with a school too. She can also throw that out.
I think she was hoping with some of her
Teen.
programs early this summer to find something, but they sounds like they business.
Well, now the school's back in session.
Should be easier. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea.
This trainer, I believe that's right, retired from Kenmore. She was she's
We've got another librarian, who's at Shelton Butte, who retired years ago, Carol Johnson, lives in Kenmore.
Anything else for the evening?
I would like to say one question. Who runs the business incubator program kind of in our city?
Nancy Osley is
Oh.
the assistant city manager, is our key person from economic development standpoint. That they're all responsible or report to the city manager, Rob Carlinzi, so he's familiar with it all. But Nancy is the one that put that together. And, it's been an amazing story in that we had the one business, the Hookah Watch guy, who lives in Kenmore, in Kirkland. And he just happened to talk to Dave Baker, and Dave said, yeah, that sounds good, what's we want to do, that sort of thing. And so, in contrast to the way government things usually go, this one, start to finish, was 6 months. And we'd still be studying if we did the government way. But Nancy did it the business way. We got a problem, let's see how we can solve it. They located the space, outfitted it very inexpensively, and finished it up. And boom, they were in within 6 months, the first 10. And we've been criticized by some, my opponent for one, for not doing it the government way and studying it forever.
Was he a Kenmore reporter?
No problem.
There was,
No.
there was, did you
No,
see
that
the
was
Kenmore?
Hendrickson.
I almost called you and said, what can I do? Can I write a letter?
Please do.
Well, yeah.
And while we're at it, Lori's running for re-election, so am I. And we both started at the same time. And I just got the shipment of our
Yay.
brochures, and so if you care to take one, here they are.
Sure.
But,
Did you bring a photo of the little library?
I did. I wrote that.
Did you
And,
bring a photo?
well,
you bring a photo, it's in my van across the street.
it's across the street. If anybody wants to go out and see it,
Take a
I'll
picture
just
of it,
drive
it's not
by.
picture.
I'll just drive by and check it out. I think it's so.
Well, it isn't,
I am.
we don't have it installed yet,
I know.
we're still painting.
Yeah.
I think we're
I think I'm gonna go